You're listening to the RE Social Podcast with your hosts, Andrew and Vince from AnVi Invest. For more information, go to anviinvest.com.
Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome to another episode of RE Social. Today we got another local. Joe, welcome to the show, man.
Thanhanks for having me.
Yeah,
Mr. Joe Cohen.
Joe Cohen.
That's right.
We were just.
You guys say it like my 10th grade English teacher.
Is it Cohen?
That.
Yeah, the H is kind of like just the Cohen.
Cohen.
Yeah,
Cohen.
Or my grandfather used to say cone.
Cohen.
Yeah.
You know what? I like grandfather. I'm calling you Joe Cohen.
Yeah. There you
It
go.
almost sounds like he's a gangster.
Yeah.
Like from one of those movies. You're like, you don't mess with Joe Cohen, bro.
Yeah,
like,
the
he's
Jewish
got the
gangster,
ring.
right? He was a cone.
Is that a real thing?
Yeah. There
Oh.
was a
Maybe I
Jewish
watched a
gangster.
movie or something.
I've
Yeah.
never heard of
coming
Jewish
LA.
gangster in my life. It's the first time.
Oh
All
yeah,
right,
you
cool.
guys never watched the movie Casino?
Yeah.
I love Casino.
Not Al
No,
Pacino. Robert De Niro's part in that movie was of a Jewish. He couldn't be made because he was Jewish.
Oh.
Oh, I don't remember that part.
That's
I
the
gotta
whole
watch it
storyline.
again.
Oh, man,
Yeah.
I got to rewatch
Is
Casino.
Pesci in
What
it
a great
too?
movie.
What was that?
Pesci in it, right?
Yeah.
You see the scene where he goes, you think it's funny? Is that the movie?
No,
No.
that's Goodfellas.
Goodfellas.
Okay, that's
Yeah.
a good
Yeah.
one too.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
such a-
That's so hilarious.
Yeah.
Funny haha or
Funny,
like a clown.
like I amuse you. We're all like freaking out that
Yeah.
scene. Like we're
Could
not
you
even
imagine?
in it, dude.
Yeah.
It's
Could
so
you
crazy.
imagine somebody doing that to you?
Dude,
And
you
then
know
you're
that
like,
happened. Like you're
Oh,
not writing
totally.
that out of nowhere. Like
Oh,
there's some
totally.
crazy guy off his hinges. So the point is Joe is a gangster, but in real life, a gangster
Original
in all
gangster.
things real estate.
Give us the 90-second intro for people who don't know who you
Yeah,
are.
let's hear it.
Yeah. So Joe Cohen. I'm the inspired. Joe Cohen Inspires on Instagram for those of you that are on the socials.
Following.
Everything about me is inspirational. I try to inspire people to perform at their highest level. Realtor, real estate investor, entrepreneur, multipreneur, as we were kind of talking
Mhm.
about a little bit before we started.
We'll crack that open.
And then I'm a advocate for people who are action takers and want to just kind of not conform to the regular rule. I read a book that was kind of life changing for me, Rich Dad Poor Dad, and just understanding the two sides of how people think and how we are all kind of brought up to be a part of the matrix, so to speak.
Mm-hmm.
It's really eye-opening when you actually see it and you're starting to do it for yourself. So I really want to create awareness to people that your life is definitely more than just a piece of paper that you go and spend hundreds of thousands of dollars to get, and then somebody tells you that you can only meet a certain level.
Yeah.
I mean, that's where I'm at right now.
Yeah.
I just got my performance review today. Somebody just told me that.
Oh, really?
Yeah. This is
So
true
here's the
story.
ceiling. You're at it. Have a good day.
Mhm.
That's
How's
actually
that?
what caused me to really kind of go to where I'm at today, is because I was on the corporate ladder.
Mm.
I guess we could just
I'm
kind of
guessing you went to college. You were like the A student.
not at all,
Thought you
actually. Quite the opposite.
Mhm.
I come from the school of hard knocks. When I was in high school, high school was really easy for me because I figured out the chess game that they play.
Hmm.
If you cooperate in class and you pass the test with 90% or better, you're gonna graduate, right? So I didn't do the homework. I hated the homework.
Wow.
Yeah.
So wait, how'd you pass the test?
Because I just participated in the class, understood the curriculum and the assignments,
Got it.
and then I would just focus on what the curriculum and the assignments were going to be.
You hacked it.
I
Quick.
hacked
You're
it.
like, all right, that's all I need to know.
That's all I need to
I'm gonna
know. And my teachers loved me because I was the guy that raised the hand in class and knew the answers and did all that kind of stuff like that. But then I wouldn't turn in the homework, and they would call my mom in and be like, hey, if he just gave it just this little extra effort, he'd be so great. And I'm like, but what is that for? What is that going to get me?
Dude, you had to figure it out.
So not a fan of communism, I see. Okay.
Definitely not. Yeah, definitely not. So,
Wow.
when I graduated high school, I knew exactly what I wanted to be. I wanted to be a firefighter, right? Everybody wants to be a firefighter.
Cool.
So I went to junior college just to get the specific certificate that I needed to become a firefighter.
Mm-hmm.
And then I went and achieved that, right?
Nice.
Now, I didn't necessarily achieve the goal completely, because when I became a paramedic, I saw that 90% of all fire calls are trauma. And I was like, oh, I'm
It's not
dealing
a
with blood
fire,
and guts.
it's like,
Yeah, this is
oh,
not
man.
freaking backdraft where I'm,
Yeah.
sleeping with women on top of fire trucks, right?
Right.
This is
It's not what I
freaking-
signed up for.
This is not what I signed up for. I'm actually having to put my hand in guts and blood and all that kind of stuff
That's
like that.
wild.
So that was the
crazy,
end of
man.
that career path for me. And then I just went back into, trying to figure out the best direction from there. Was it school? I mean, I probably went to school and dropped out like 17 times.
Wow. Just
Yeah.
trying to figure it out like in the 20s. Like,
Yep.
what am I going to do? Yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting. And then how did the real estate come about? Because as we were talking about before, quick little teaser for the listener, Joe's got a lot of hats and they all are kind of under that umbrella of real estate. So
Financial
How'd-
services.
yeah. So how did that even evolve? Was it the book, Rich Dad, Poor Dad?
No, I actually didn't even read the book Rich Dad Poor Dad until I was I was deep into my insurance career, and I had a book club in my team,
Mm-hmm.
and they all voted for Rich Dad Poor Dad.
Nice. You're like, you didn't even vote for it. You're like, I got to read this thing.
I didn't even vote for it. And then they were like, I was like, okay, great. So
Mhm.
we read a chapter every week, and then we would come to our team meeting, and I carved out a section of our team meeting to have kind of like a book club
Nice.
where everybody kind of went around, gave their thoughts on the chapter and everything like that. And I was like, man, this book is really like, making me feel weird. You know what I mean? It's like it's almost like the story that I'm living, right? Because I didn't go to college, but I climbed really high in the corporate ladder. I got to a very high, management role in sales and business
That
development
was an
role.
insurance?
That was an insurance.
Got it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So once I came out of high school and understood where I was, what my path was, which was really in sales, I just started digging deep on a bunch of different sales jobs. I mean, I sold door-to-door thermostats back in Arizona. I lived in Arizona
Wow.
for 6
In
years,
Arizona.
and they used to have those old Mercury,
I know those-
thermostats,
those
right?
up and down.
So you got 18-year-old Joe Cohen just in the hot sun, just going around knocking on
Wow.
doors and saying, "Hey, Mr. and Mrs. Smith, do you know that I could save you possibly $30 a month on your electrical bill because of this new thermostat?
Wow.
And oh, by the way, if you give me 10 minutes of your time, I can give you this taser because the city of Phoenix was the highest crime rate at that time."
And you're out walking around at 18 years old.
That's right. With a bunch of tasers in my backpack. You know what I mean?
Dude, what an image. Hey, and then kudos as a salesman myself. He led with value, and that is the secret right there.
That's
I
it.
can save you money. That's
Yep,
brilliant.
I could save you
Wow.
money. Yeah. And oh, by the way, you got any like lemonade or iced tea? Because I'm cooking out here in Arizona, right?
Right.
But
What did that experience teach you, man? Because I used to sell books door to door.
He used
Yeah.
to sell Bibles door to door in the
Yeah.
Midwest,
that's amazing.
which is crazy.
That's a real tough job.
Yeah.
Yeah. What it taught me is that it humbled me because a few things when I knocked on the door, especially in Phoenix, Arizona at that time, conceal and carry, whole 9 yards is, I come from California, where we didn't have a big focus on conceal and carry.
Right.
So when I went to Arizona, it's a country town at that point.
Yeah.
There's people strapping all over the place, right?
Mhm.
And so what they taught me is when you knock on the door, you step
Yeah.
back
Yeah.
Mhm.
and
Yeah,
you
yeah.
get down below their level.
That makes sense.
So then
Yeah.
that way they have that superiority over you.
Wow. That's gnarly.
Isn't
I'm
that-
already out, dude. I'll go back to firefighting.
Yeah. And then it also taught me how to ask questions instead of just kind of force the issue. And I had to speak really quickly, like within like elevator speech.
Mm.
You basically have to get your spiel in within like
Yeah.
2 minutes.
What's in it for them in 2 minutes? Yeah.
Exactly.
Wow.
So a lot of things from that.
Yeah.
So definitely put your sales skills into hyperdrive. Probably put your just level of just going out and surviving some craziness. I mean, that's a skill set. That's something that I think adds to a man's confidence is when you just go face the world a little bit in any way like that. I mean,
Yep.
I could imagine. I've never done door-to-door sales. I'm a realtor myself, so I get the realtors who do
Yeah.
It sucks.
and I'm always like, I'm the nicest guy. I'm like, bro, this is it. Keep doing this, but I'm sorry.
It's not for me, right?
Yeah. Thank you though. Like
Yeah.
keep going.
Yeah.
I have so much respect for it. I
Yeah,
got
'cause
lucky
there's-
in my business. I never had to. I built it so slowly and organically
Mhm.
that I got lucky. You know, most of the sales is already done before they even call me.
Yeah, nice.
But yeah, so you went from that, and then at some point in 108-degree weather, Fahrenheit for everybody out there, you're at some point probably like, what the heck am I doing? What can I do that's not this? Is that the case?
Well,
or?
actually, it was a right fit because I when I moved to Arizona, I moved there my senior year in high school. So I told my mom, in order for us to make this a smooth transition, that I had to have parties at my house, right?
Okay.
And she agreed. So
Got her.
I tell people this. Everybody asks me how long I've been in sales, and I tell them ever since I came out of the womb, right?
Been selling mom on. Like,
I've been
hey,
selling my
Mom.
mom on what I need all the time, right?
Yeah.
Why do I need that toy
Yeah.
when we go to the store,
That's
right?
funny.
But yeah, I convinced her to let me throw keggers at my house
That's
in
hilarious.
Arizona to get people to freaking like me, right?
Kind of makes sense.
And so, of
ingratiate
course,
yourself.
I ran into some bands
Mm-hmm.
that wanted to play at my keggers,
Yep.
right? And then naturally, I don't know if you guys know this or not, but Phoenix has one of the best local music scenes in the country.
I had no idea.
Jimmy Eat World came out of Mesa, Arizona.
Okay. Nice.
To name one,
Yeah, I know that guy. Yeah. I just
yeah.
think he
So
covered
so
that.
there's a big, local music scene in Arizona, and I just kind of worked my way into that. And so I used my skills in sales and being able to be personable and kind of mimic myself to the personalities around me. Because remember, I'm this kid from Surftown, California, going into Podunk, Phoenix, Arizona at that time. And back in 96, it wasn't as developed as you see it today. So I had to basically kind of come in and find commonality somewhere. And so I leaned into the punk rock scene. And next thing I know, I'm kind of roadieing for the local bands. And they were setting up shows, setting up tours. I was doing merch, I was doing gear setup, and of course I got the girls and the party favors,
Right.
right?
Sales.
And so more sales,
Mhm.
right? And it just kind of naturally gravitated to me. So I just, had the gift of gab. I had the personality. I had the ability to be a chameleon.
Mm.
And that really helped me kind of get through those years where I came in knowing nobody,
Yeah.
right? And so what we did is we all kind of made this agreement that we would all just do random jobs for a certain period of time until we had enough money to go on to the next show. And we traveled around to different colleges locally first. And, like NAU,
Mhm.
U of A, ASU. We play all those college, campuses. And then we started traveling into, Mexico and some other places before the band ended up breaking up. And, I moved back to California. So,
So we're back in California. Had a lot of fun in our 20s.
oh yeah.
How old are we now back in California?
Well, I moved back when I was 21.
Gotcha.
So that was from the time that I was 17 till the time I was 21. I was in Arizona.
What's Joe Cohen doing next?
So I did a short stint in construction, right?
Okay.
Did some low voltage
Your hands
electricity.
dirty? Yeah.
Got my hands dirty. That's what got me back to California, because it was like kind of like a journeyman type of role where you
Sure.
could travel, and as long as you knew how to pull cable and
Right.
put it all together, you were able to have a job somewhere.
Mhm.
So came back to California to do that, and then I just still had the passion for music, still had the passion and energy. So I wanted to kind of become a music engineer.
Mhm.
And so music engineer school was like way pricey at that point, which was probably really, really cheap. But the inflation now is
Yeah.
probably out of control.
So you didn't do that?
I didn't go into that program. What I went into was I joined the Academy of Radio and Television Broadcasting.
Okay.
And that was a $2,500 program where
Gotcha.
they taught you how to be a board op and do all the, all of the panels and stuff like that. And I thought that was going to get my foot into the door to be able to start producing some music and get on a radio station and stuff like that. And I got promoted to ESPN Radio and worked for ESPN Radio on the McDonnell Douglas show for a few months. That was fun.
That's cool.
Yeah, but in radio, you're working like 2-3 jobs just to make a normal living, right?
Oh, really? Okay.
I answered an ad in a newspaper about getting trained in real estate and getting a real estate license, and I answered that ad. And there's a funny story behind that. They came in, they had us come in and do like a quick little like introduction, and then they said, "Okay, great. Now, if you make it through this test, we'll put you into the licensing program." Well, the test was we had to get one booked appointment from a stack of leads, and they were all old leads. They were all just, you could see they were just sitting there collecting dust in the corner. And so I sit down, and I've, done all this telemarketing and all this sales jobs because of the random jobs that we, did through the punk rock years. And I not only got one, I got 3 appointments. Nice. And they're like, "You're in." Nice. So I got my license for free from a local real estate brokerage in Tustin.
That's cool.
And so I was working like the 2 a.m. to 9 a.m. shift at the radio station. I was working the afternoon shift at the low voltage electricity job. And I would leave the 2 a.m. to 9 a.m. shift and go to the real estate company and make phone calls and get
this
trained.
This is your 20s?
This was in my 20s. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Just hustling. Wow.
Yeah.
In my 20s, I was still just like lost.
Yeah.
Like waiting tables and all that. So you're like way ahead of the curve. Okay. So all sales, by the way, just.
I did waiting tables too.
You did waiting tables?
Yeah.
Oh my God. Yeah.
Easy
we have a
cash.
lot of commonalities. Oh yeah. I did it for too long for sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's the easy cash, flexible hours.
100%.
You have fun with your coworkers. It's not demanding. Whenever you got those 3 leads out of that old stack, what did you do? What was like one thing that you did, you think maybe you did different than what most people would do?
I asked questions. So I've always been trained that people typically say no and N-O because they don't K-N-O-W, right? They don't know what your product is. They don't know what you're calling them for. I relate this always to, an old Circuit City commercial where, there's 2 Circuit City, right?
That's how, everybody's old here.
Gonna date yourself, Circuit City.
All
the millennials are like, what is this?
What is
city?
this thing?
Where's it? What state?
I think the best thing about it was the store looked like a plug.
Yeah. Yep.
But there was a commercial that they had where they were pulling up into the parking lot into the store, and they're like, okay, so we're just gonna go in there and we're just gonna look and we're gonna get our no hats on. We're gonna say no. Ready? Let's practice. No, no, right? And they were just saying getting their no hat confidence going, and it's because people don't want to be sold,
right?
They feel like if they got sold, they're a sucker.
Yes.
Right?
It gives you buyer's remorse too.
You get buyer's remorse.
People just want value. What's in it for me?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So if you ask the right questions and then you listen to the responses, 9 times out of 10, they tell you exactly what they want. And you just have to be aware to be taking notes at the time that they tell you exactly what they want. So then that way, all you have to do is deliver what they're asking for. And that's how I've been so successful in sales.
So simple, but that is a big rookie mistake that a lot of salespeople do not do, which is listen, which is discover, which is this even a fit? Let's just start with that.
Yeah.
Like, can I even help you?
Yep.
And that's the key as well. Can I help you? So, sorry, we're rabbit trailing on sales. I love sales. It's part of what's helped me build my businesses.
100%.
But yeah, Vince, anything? Are we missing anything?
No, I think we're good. But I gave you 90 seconds for the intro, and we still haven't gotten anything.
Oh, that's true.
We don't know what you do still.
I thought I did say that.
It out.
I thought I said the inspired brand. Inspiring
We did
people to
get that.
perform at their highest level.
Yeah. So, but you moved on from the music gig. You were doing that, and then you started doing other things. Then how did you end up with the portfolio, and also you're running a realtor business, right?
Yeah. So when I started in the real estate industry in 2001.
2001.
Yeah, that was when I was 22. Yeah. So 2001, it was all you had to do was have a real estate license to do both real estate and loans. And so the real estate firm that I worked with, they were a mortgage broker and a real estate brokerage. And they used to get all their leads from fax leads. It was fax blast. And so I built a career in just doing real estate and loans from 2001 to 2008, where I ended up like kind of running like a net branch for a very large mortgage lender. 2008 wasn't really a good time to have a mortgage branch.
Now tell us the truth. How many ninja loans did you do? No job, no income. You're qualified.
That was pretty much all of the loans.
Dang.
Yeah, that was, I mean, here's the thing. You could
You
have
must
the
have been
easy
rich,
cookie
right?
cutter W-2 job that was, going to get you that. But the thing is even though the cookie cutter W-2 jobs, it was a lot of paperwork that you had to get from the clients. So it was just better to do a no income, no asset loan.
Mm-hmm.
And they were willing to take a little bit of a hit on the rate. So that way they didn't have to flush in all that paperwork.
Mm-hmm.
We were all about get them off the streets as fast as we possibly can. Right. And I would even tell them, like, look, I understand that you're looking to pay off some credit card debt and lower your monthly payment, but here's what I'm saving you with the rate that it's at with no income, no asset. Is that savings good enough for you? Mm-hmm. And then they would say, yeah.
And they're all arms, right?
And they were all 2-year fixed, 3-year fixed loans with a 3-year prepayment penalty. And they would come back to me in 6 months and say, I'm ready to refinance again. Yeah.
But even with the prepay?
Even with the
they
prepay.
Don't care.
They didn't care.
Wow.
Yeah. So that was what caused the crash. I'm a firm believer that that's what caused the crash. And then in 2008, when the crash happened, what do? Right? We kind of readjust, hopefully, for the better. I wasn't thinking fix and flip back in those days, which, gosh, if I knew, because of all the knowledge that I have now, I would have.
If you started in 2009.
Oh my God. I'd be a billionaire.
For sure.
Yeah. So, my wife got pregnant. And so she was like, you went from making, high 6-figure income to making zero money, and you don't have a degree, and we're in a down economy, and there's no jobs and everything like that. And I'm like, what's the most recession-proof industry that you can get into?
Did you have any savings at all at that point, or you were just buying?
Yeah, I mean, I sold a house, what we had, short sold it, but it was like still you ended up.
No, during the point, because you were probably making good money, right? For
No, I spent every single penny.
Okay.
Yeah,
you had a good life.
Back in those days, you wanted to come to Vegas with me.
Oh yeah, you should have been his friend back then. I was in high school like a loser, but.
But yeah, those were those. I mean, for my bachelor party, we rented a private tour bus and had 32 guys go to Vegas.
That's wild.
And
off air, we will discuss.
2006, 7.
That was 2005.
2000. That's your peak.
Yeah,
you're
peaking.
You're like strippers, 8 houses, same day close.
Since we're on a public platform, I will plead the fifth.
Yeah. We've all seen The Big Short. That's how it all. Went
oh
down.
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. That was my. I don't need to see that movie. I lived that movie.
Wow.
Right.
It's a great movie.
It's a great movie. So I basically was like, insurance is the answer. Yeah. Right. So let's add insurance.
Did you lose your home? Sorry. Did you lose your home in 2008?
Short sale.
So you got rid of it. Okay.
Yeah.
Because the mortgage kicked up because the 3-year period ended?
No, it was actually, I couldn't. So basically I had a 30-year fixed program, but it was 100%. So it was 80-20.
Sure.
So I didn't put any money down into it. And I bought it at the height of the market, which was at that time was $550,000 in Laguna Niguel. Mm-hmm. That house right now, that house is worth $1.3 million. It's a condo.
Wow. Wow. So if you kept it for what, 15 years?
If I would have kept it, it would have been a much better experience.
Probably went down to like 300, right?
Probably, yeah.
Oh yeah. So I ended up just kind of panicking because I didn't know any better, and I just sold it to the highest bidder, which at that time was like $436,000. I was short about $50,000, but California is a non-recourse state, so basically it was a wash.
Oh, nice. So you didn't have to give $50,000 to sell your house.
That's it.
Okay.
That's it. And
All right.
then, I did have like 401k at the,
Uh-huh.
lending companies that I
Yeah.
worked for and stuff like that. Cause I got into a management role at Countrywide Home Loans,
Mm-hmm.
also the culprit of the real estate market crash. But when you're 1 year into a marriage and, your wife's about to have a kid, what do? Right? Do I go back to school? That was an option. Do I retrain myself somehow? That's the way to go. You got to figure out a way to retrain yourself. And so I went and got my insurance license through a State Farm agency.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of drank the Kool-Aid because, again, my entrepreneurial spirit was like, well, who am I going to go to that I can still be a business owner? Let's go to State Farm, right? And turns out you put $50,000 in to be a glorified employee. So I saw behind the curtain and I was like, that's not the route that I want to take.
How does that work? What are the assumptions that you had, and then the realizations that you had once you were in it?
Well, as a State Farm agent, you feel you get the interpretation that they own their book of business, and in actuality, they don't. The State Farm owns the book of business, and if you don't produce a certain level of income or revenue by a certain period of time, let's just call it 6 months, they can cancel your appointment, keep whatever policies you wrote,
I see.
and then
Got it. Yeah.
have a nice day, and you just put $50,000 in for nothing,
Right.
right?
Wow.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just crazy.
Is that
right?
all insurance companies, or just like a unique State Farm thing because they're like a big name?
Farmers has changed their business model to kind of be more ownership level, but they've also got an employer based program as well.
Gotcha.
Where it's like they pay you a salary to kind of build your book of business up, and then once you've built the book of business up to that matches the salary that they're giving you, then they take away the salary and you're just living off the residuals.
Okay, interesting.
So that's a little more attractive, but you're captive.
Yeah,
you can't go
and
out.
you didn't want that. You wanted to be your own guy.
I wanted to be a broker.
Yeah,
that's what I was used to. Right. I want to have options. State Farm was great. They got really good training, but if back in those days, DUIs were very high, and if you got lawyers and you got doctors and you got some of the higher up echelons people that you want in your book of business, but they couldn't qualify because they had a DUI within 10 years.
Wow.
Everybody else was 5 years. You have that DUI in 5 years, you're good to go, right? But State Farm was like, no, if it's on your record within 10 years, we can't write you.
Got it.
So I had these massive clients that were ready to come over, but then you had a DUI in one of the children or a DUI in the husband.
Kills the whole thing.
Kills the whole thing.
Wow.
Yeah. So I had to end up pushing those off to brokers, and I'm like, well, if brokers can do it, I should be able to do it. So then I just went and started a insurance agency inside a mortgage and real estate office so we could have the trifecta: mortgage, insurance, real estate. And so that really worked with some business partners on building that. And then lo and behold, I got recruited to by a headhunt, by a company that basically wanted to have a business development guy who had the entrepreneurial spirit, but also knew insurance products. And I actually denied the position at first because I was pretty good. I was surfing at like 10 in the morning every morning. I was coming in and locking down deals. I built my book of business up to $350,000 in the first year in insurance. And I was doing real estate transactions. I was doing mortgage transactions. I was living a pretty good life, And then I went back to my wife and I said, hey, I got offered a job at a corporate company. Ew. And she's like, did you entertain it? And I'm like, no, why would I do that? She's like, because self-employed, there's no guarantees in life. You just, one minute you're doing good, the next minute you could be doing bad.
That's fair.
Right? She's like, call him back, So I called him back, and I was working a bartending gig at that point because I was building my business and needed some consistent income. And they offered me the role, and it was a $50,000 a year position. And I was like,
This was 2009.
This was in 2000. This was in 2012.
Okay.
Yeah. And so I'm like, 55,000. I think I'm still gonna have to keep my bartending gig and still do real estate on the side. And so they came back and they gave me a $75,000 increase. That just for kind of saying that, because like, well, we're gonna have to need you kind of full time, right? And so I ended up, accepting the offer. And
That's a really good offer, man, back then.
back then,
Yeah.
yeah, it was a really good offer. And then, I worked my way up the ranks there and all the way up to manager of business development and sales. And my boss told me one day, he's like, look, you got to go get the degree. I'm like, why? We're doing great. I had my team humming. We were writing $250,000 a month in premium. I was generating more leads than they ever, could imagine with my business development activities. We're doing great, right? He's like, because if I want to put you in my seat, the higher ups they want to see that you have the 4-year degree. I'm all, okay, can you explain that to me? He's like, well, we want to be able to see that you can, commit to something and, see it through. I'm all,
that's just old school thinking.
I'm all, isn't that what I just did?
Yeah.
You found me off the streets.
Yeah.
And I just came in and I just enhanced your business. I mean, we're generating net revenue of $1 million a year for this, financial institution.
Nice.
That's after all expenses are paid.
Where was it when you started though?
It was creeping around like, it would go up a little bit, like, 750,000.
Got it.
Down to like 500,000,
So
because
you just gave it that nice little boost.
we were solid at a
And
million.
then you were pulling in at least $250,000 then, right? Per year?
I quickly moved up from the 77,000 to 165,000 a year.
That's
Nice.
pretty good.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
That's without bonuses.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it was a pretty good
And they
job.
still wanted you that 4-year degree.
Wanted me to get that 4-year degree.
So what are we doing? We're applying at UCI?
I went to Brandman University, the online school.
There you go. Yeah.
And I spent 4 years struggling doing that part-time
Mm-hmm.
because I was working 70 hours a week doing the business development and sales
Jeez,
managing.
man.
I was in a different city every two weeks.
But you could have just stayed in that position and keep collecting more and more money every year, though, right?
No, you cap out. That's the way the compensation plan was.
They won't make you more than
After you reach a
165?
certain level, you can't get any more merit
Doesn't make any
increases.
sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and then one year they the company as a whole didn't make the budget,
Sure.
so the managers didn't get their bonuses. But our division crushed it. Right? So they looped us into the entire company budget. And that was a trip because I was like, wait a second, because the other divisions didn't perform, I don't get my bonus. Another
Right.
red
You're
flag.
already like,
Yeah. So, I mean, and then I'm reading this Rich Dad Poor Dad book, and I'm like,
This is when you're reading it?
okay.
Good timing.
Yeah,
He's
the
like,
timing
I'm out of
is-
here.
Yeah. So, and then there was something missing in my life. I really do enjoy being an entrepreneur. I really do enjoy taking something from nothing, building it up, and then saying that it's, I did that. Right. And so, when COVID,
I mean, did you need more money back then? Let's be honest. 165 back then is pretty good money.
yeah, I didn't necessarily need more money, but
There was no growth.
Sounds like it was an intrinsic values thing. It's like I needed my own thing. Was that
well,
what it was?
I'm a visionary person, right? And so I tend to look very far in the future. And he said something to me about the 4-year degree, right? If I want you to be in my position, you have to have this 4-year degree. Well, then that made me go look at his boss. I'm like, okay, well, if you want me in your position, who's your boss? How are they treating you? How am I going to get treated? And she treated him like dog shit.
Already, you're like seeing the writing on the wall.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Reading
wait,
the
I
book.
I get into this executive role and then I get treated like dog shit because she doesn't know how to read a KPI freaking report. And she wants me to explain it to her line item by line item. I mean, there was this one time where she literally made us rush around like chickens with our head cut off because she had to do a quarterly report to her boss. And we did it. We did the report. We didn't even have all the month end numbers, but we pulled it out of our asses. And then
And you're the one that needs the 4-year degree.
I'm the one that needs the 4-year degree.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Yeah. So I deliver this report to her, right?
Mm-hmm.
And she goes, "What's a PIF?"
I don't know.
The acronym for
I don't know what
PIF,
PIF is,
right? It's PIF, right? Policies in force.
Okay.
She runs an insurance company, and she
So
didn't
that's like
know.
a common thing in the insurance
It's
world.
a very common thing.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Oh no.
What's
We know
a PIF?
KPIs, but we've never heard of PIF.
Yeah.
So I'm explaining to the CEO of our division
Maybe she needs a 4-year degree.
what a PIF is, right?
Wow.
And I'm like, okay, so you're going to be my boss? No, thank you, right?
Yeah.
you're going to be putting all this pressure on me to perform for you, to make you look good.
Yeah.
Right. So why can't I just do that for myself? Right.
So what'd you do? What was the move after that? To go
Well,
buy a farm?
No, actually. So, you asked me about doors, right? So in 2010, my wife's father passed away from cancer, unfortunately, but he owned 3 properties, which actually it was 4 total because one of the properties has an ADU on it.
Nice.
He left that behind to Stacy and which is my wife, and her brother. And so I, being in the real estate industry, kind of took over, making sure that it was being managed properly. And at that point, a family member was managing it, right? I took that over, got it all lined up, got a property manager, and now we're running it like a business
Shafter.
in Shafter. So we got positive cash flow. These houses are paid off.
Nice.
So it's just all positive cash flow, right? And so we have those properties, and I enjoy doing that, right? And so I'm like, there's something missing in my life. I wasn't doing as many real estate transactions while I was working 70 hours a week and going to school and doing all this stuff, right? So I came to an epiphany after I read the book. I was like, you know what? I need to get back into real estate. And then COVID happened, right? 2020 comes around, COVID happens, and guess what? Divorce rates start going up. So
You became an attorney.
no, people started hitting me. Some of my friends who were going through those things hit me up. Can you sell my house for a discount?
I
You know what I
see.
mean? Like
Yeah.
discount on real estate commissions.
Got it.
No problem. I'd rather take 100% of something rather than 100% of nothing any day of the
Sure,
week, right?
sure.
So I'm doing my job virtually, and I'm listing a house, and I'm sitting in my car because at that time you had to wait for people to show up to the appointment to let them in because they could only go in one at a time, right?
Right.
So I'm sitting in my car, I'm on a Zoom call for my freaking team, and I'm hosting basically an open house. I'm like, oh, I got this. I could do this, right? And then one transaction led to another transaction, and then I go down the rabbit hole of trying to figure out how to do fix and flips. And the next thing I know, I'm hooked up with Tariq El Moussa from the HGTV show Flip or Flop,
Yeah, we know him. Yeah.
and he's teaching me how to do fix and flips.
How did you get hooked up with him?
I think during COVID, he just decided to start a training program, and
Oh, you joined his mentorship or
Mhm.
something? Nice,
Nice.
man. Cool.
Yep. And so I bought into that program, and they said they promoted it as homeschooled because it was kind of tied in with
Oh, nice.
the COVID theme.
Yeah.
Right.
And
Can you tell us what the cost is to do that?
yeah, it was a 15 grand.
15? That's actually pretty cheap.
It was that's why I bought into
That's
it.
really cheap.
I was
That's
like-
what came with that? What was that?
So he set you up with a business toolkit, right? So he's like, okay, I'm gonna help you set up the foundation. You got to start your LLC. We got Prime Corporate Services to help you set up your LLC.
Sure.
You got to build your business credit. We got Prime Corporate Services to help you build your business credit. Oh, and by the way, you get 6 months of a one-on-one coach from an experienced real estate investor,
Nice.
and so you get your
Every
hand held.
week?
What was that?
Every week you get a 1 hour with them, or
Oh, it was a weekly meeting that you got with your coach, and then you would set KPIs for you to achieve and all
Nice.
that kind of stuff like that. So it was
Nice.
real
That's
intensive,
good. Okay.
right?
Great.
And so I'm working the full-time gig, setting up this business. 6 months in, I'm making offers on deals. I had all the fish.
What about the capital raising part? Did they teach you that too?
Oh yeah,
Or private money?
they taught me everything because that's the thing that intrigued me about it. I was like, how are all these people doing these fix and flips?
Right.
Like, where are they getting all this money?
Yeah. That's what we're all thinking. Like, what's going on?
Yeah.
Come on.
Right? Like,
Yeah.
why are you doing this and I'm not doing this?
So
Right?
what was the thing? Like call your mom and your sister. That's the private money part for the loan? piece?
No, they were big on hard money
Sure, yeah, but
and then getting gap funds from business lines of credit. So
Oh.
0%, build your business capital. So then that way other people's money is also the bank's money too, because people put their money in the banks, right? So you don't want to necessarily rely on mom and pop's 401k money. I mean, don't get me wrong. If somebody wants to invest money with me, I'm going to take it. And
Sure, yeah.
I'm gonna help them earn double-digit returns, right? But I would much rather rely on business credit to be able to go out and be my own gap funder.
So you're opening up a business credit card and you're pulling money from the credit at 0% into your bank account and using that as down payment for the 10,
Correct.
20% down with the bank. Right?
Correct.
And that's how
Yeah.
you build,
Have
right?
you ever heard of the site called Plastique? I don't think
Yeah,
it's
yeah, I've used it.
around
I've
anymore.
done it many times.
I don't
sort
think
of.
it's around anymore. I think
Oh, they're done?
I think it
Yeah.
went sideways.
That's how we bought King Street.
Yeah, so I figured that stuff out real quick,
Mhm.
right? And then I went out and I got a small business line of credit through a company called Bankers Healthcare Group, which they were like originally business capital for doctors and dentists and stuff like that. And then they realized that real estate agents would use this for helping their marketing budget and stuff like that. And so I got a $100,000 line of credit from Bankers Healthcare Group and a $18,000 0% interest credit card. And I just started making offers and showing my capital. And, one thing led to another, got my first deal.
Well, give us the numbers on your first deal. Let's go.
Have you thought about investing in real estate and taking advantage of all of those benefits without any of the work? That is something that AnVi Invest not only provides, but has been providing since its inception. With friends and family, we have built an empire and a system of a wealth-generating tool that is giving us and our friends and family that leverage in their life to create true wealth. Go to onvinvest.com for more to see if you qualify, and thanks for listening.
Yeah, so the first deal was a property in Virginia.
Okay.
Bought it for $150,000, fixed it up for $40,000, and sold it for $270,000. Made a $35,000 profit.
Not bad. Your first try?
Well, that wasn't my first try.
Okay.
I actually lost money on my first try because
as we usually do.
I got into too big of a deal and it was inexperience, but it was also a hard money lender bait and switch. This is good podcast content. See, hard money lenders, they want to earn your business.
What's
right?
his name and address?
I should do that actually, because that guy.
Yeah.
And the thing is I knew him from my credit union job. My insurance company was owned by a credit union, and so we did a lot of business with the credit union's mortgage company, right? So that VP of mortgage decided to go out and be on his own, become a hard money lender, commercial lender. So I figured since we knew each other, he'd have my back, right? Well, I got into this deal in Marina Del Rey. I got it under contract for a stellar price. I got it under contract for $1.6 million. ARV was 2.2, right?
Homie hookup?
No, it was a wholesaler that dropped the ball, and I came in, and
you were the second.
I was the second guy.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Wait, so 2.6 ARV, you got it for 1.6?
It was a 2.2 ARV with got it for 1.6.
And then what was the repair?
The rehab budget was $350.
Oh, that's a nice spread.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
So I went into this deal thinking that because I have real estate portfolio, I had 4 doors, I had my primary residence, I had a real estate license, 20 years at that point of experience, that the hard money lender would give me 90% loan to cost. And my guy told me, hey, you got 90% loan to cost. I made it work for you.
Mm-hmm.
So I go into this deal only collecting a certain amount of gap funds, right? And I had everything. I had like $450,000. I had enough to carry the mortgage payments for the time frame that we were going to be doing the construction, all of it, right? Get down to the signing table and I see the loan paperwork and it's only 80% loan to cost. I had to come up with another like $150,000.
Wow.
At the signing table that I didn't have.
That's wild.
Mm-hmm.
Right? I'm like, hey, this is not what I told the notary to leave. I said, this is not what I signed up for.
Yeah.
Called the listing agent, told him what the situation was. Hey, I'm going back to the drawing board, but I just need a couple days extension. We'll get this figured out, right?
Did you have EMD in it?
I had a $50,000 EMD.
Hard EMD?
Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah, it was a hard EMD. Yeah, because remember, I'm coming in to kind of get the deal, right? And I already knew what was going into it because the wholesaler had brought it to me before, right? So I already knew all the ins and outs, all the the little behind the scene issues, right?
Yeah.
And so my hard money lender goes, hey, we got to figure out a way to get you the other 10% because this investor is not going to go with your experience at 90% loan to cost. And I'm like, so can you get me a second somewhere? Can you figure this out? And he drags me along for like 2 weeks. Somehow miraculously, I got the freaking listing agent to stay with me for 2 more weeks.
Wow.
And then finally at the end of it, he couldn't perform. And so I just told the guy, I'm like, look, man, I'm sorry. He's like, well, what about all the money that you showed me in your bank account? I'm like, well, I put those funds to use elsewhere. So I can't just,
Right.
randomly come up with all this extra money to get this deal done. And he's like, well, my sellers are going to want to keep your deposit. I'm all, that's 50 grand, bro. You're not keeping that deposit. And they're like, well, they'll take you to court. They're engineers. They know what they're talking about. And I says, okay, well, let's part ways for half, give me 25 grand back.
Right.
And he's like, okay, that's
No
fair.
problems, yeah.
So I ended
you
up
got 25 back?
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
pretty
Yeah.
big.
So I ended up losing 25 grand on my first deal.
Right.
Yeah. And then
That's a win, though. I mean,
Sure.
you learn so
So
much
much.
and like cashed in on that knowledge
You
going
know it.
forward. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
So
Yeah.
you paid 40 grand for your course.
Hey guys, I'm so sorry. I've never done this. Keep going. I actually have to use the restroom really bad.
Oh,
right now.
yeah. Do we?
So 15 with Tarek and 25 with the other one.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. Just about. And then, with that particular deal, what it did is it actually changed my whole mindset on the business model.
Mhm.
Because as I was kind of mentioning before, I had a bunch of lines in the water. I had cast a bunch of lines. I was doing pay-per-click ads. I was doing Facebook ads. I was like, had direct mail going out. I had driving for dollar drivers, in the neighborhood, sending me, shitty houses and stuff like that. So I was paying all this money out my pocket, right? And with all that capital that I had raised like probably like $350,000 in capital
Really?
in that 6 months. You know what I mean?
And then you learned all of this stuff from Tarek,
Mm-hmm.
his course,
Mm-hmm.
TarekBuysHouses.com. That's his website.
You got it.
Yeah. Now, so that's very interesting, man. So the first deal itself, you lost 25 grand.
Yep.
And are you demotivated or you're like motivated more?
I was motivated more because guess what? That deal in Marina Del Rey was listed on the MLS.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a real estate agent.
Okay.
I negotiated the whole deal
Yeah.
by using my real estate license, right?
Mhm. Yeah.
So it was like a light bulb that went off. I'm like, oh. And there's actually a course in the homeschooled about
Mhm.
MLS domination.
Uh-huh.
I just didn't take it seriously because I was just like everybody else. There's no deals on the MLS, right? They're already at the highest market value. They're not going to be willing to negotiate.
Mm-hmm.
But what I found out is if you find the homes that have been sitting on the market the longest, the more likely that agent is more desperate to sell that house.
Yeah.
So I'm going to go directly to the agent and talk to him about getting him a paycheck,
Mhm.
right? Hey, you've been sitting on the market this long. Now I'm here to come in and help you get paid.
Yeah. I mean, you get fired after 6 months as an agent, right?
That's it.
So you want to, if you target 3 months, 4 months plus, they're going to be like all freaked
They're
out.
ready. They're ready to get paid.
Yeah.
And you ask the question, what happens when the listing expires? Nine times out of 10, their answer is, oh, I'll just renew the agreement. But then you're like, so you know the definition of insanity,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
right?
You're doing the same thing, right? Yeah.
Doing the same thing over and over again, expecting a different result.
So the first one didn't work out for you. So you were like all motivated. So what happened next?
I immediately went into just hunting on the MLS. I was setting up. I was my best buyer, so I just set up a bunch of drip campaigns to send me emails for homes that fit my criteria that were on days on market for a certain time frame, or anytime the listing changed status, I would get
Mhm.
notification, and then I would just start writing offers.
So you're looking for only fixer-uppers, right?
Yep.
Okay.
And then I learned how to put keywords into my search with the MLS. And so now I'm getting probates sent directly to me on a daily basis. I'm getting
Mhm.
listings that have TLC or bring your tool belt,
Yeah.
right, into my
As is.
Yeah, as is, right into my inbox. It's just
Yeah.
coming to me on a daily basis, and I just look at it and I do the numbers, I write the offer, reach out to the agent, see if my offer was in the ballpark, and if not, I would put them on a list.
And how are you running your numbers to write these offers in terms of the rehab budget And the comps is pretty easy to see a fixed up how much it's selling for. But how do you doing the rehab without walking all these properties? It's a rough.
Well, the homeschool program came with a construction rehab estimator,
Mhm.
and I actually took that Excel spreadsheet in my build up phase, and I sat down with multiple different contractors and said, "Hey, how much per square foot is flooring? How much per square foot is carpet? How much per square foot is paint right now? For baseboards, what do you think on average it is for linear foot costs?" So I literally I took people out to lunch. And I just said,
Mhm.
"Hey, look at this spreadsheet. Can you write down what you think those numbers would be realistically in today's market?" And then I went back to my office and I put all of those numbers in. And then when I would go through, I would do a virtual walkthrough on the listing, and I would just sit there and plug and play on my rehab calculator and determine the budget.
Wow, that's cool, man. So you got a second thing offer accepted.
Yeah. So I got a burned down house offer accepted.
This is 2020.
This is in 2022, because
Okay.
2021 was when I first started. That was April of 2021.
And you haven't done any deal yet by 2022.
Nope.
Okay.
So January of 2022 comes, and I that light bulb
Interest rates starting to go through the roof.
not at all. They're actually still staying low.
No, they're still staying low in January, but it's starting because I bought my house closed in Feb, like
Yeah.
399.
Yeah.
It doubled in 6 months.
Right. It went up to like 5%, right? 5-6%. Yeah.
No, so his house down the street is 6, so 50%.
Got
in
it.
6 months,
Got
same year,
it.
2022. So I'm very familiar with the rates.
Yeah. So when the light bulb went off, I was like, "Oh, I could teach this."
Mm-hmm.
Right? On the MLS domination. I can hire agents, and I was with EXP at that point. So attracting agents was something that was on my, purview.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was like, "Oh, I could teach this. I can actually attract people because we had weekly Zoom meetings with Tarek in the homeschool training.
And it's a group. He's only doing group meetings.
Yeah,
right?
it was group meetings. He wasn't doing any one-on-one stuff because it was the COVID,
Sure.
but we would do weekly group meetings, and everybody would be like raising their hands saying, "I've decided to get my real estate license." And I'm like, "Oh, I'm with EXP. I can help you onboard into EXP, and then I can help teach you what I'm doing with the MLS and get you your first deal." Because that's when everybody joins a real estate investor community, they're all hungry to get their first deal, right? But they don't know how to go about it. And I already kind of figured a path on how to do that. And so I was starting to attract people to my organization with EXP, signing them up under EXP under my downline, and then teaching them the ropes and doing a team split. I started a self-directed team inside EXP, figured out how to become a certified mentor because of my 20 years of real estate experience. And I started collecting, 10% overrides on everybody's business. And I started collecting the revenue share with EXP. And, I started building a team. And so January of 2022, we got our first burned down property off the MLS. I locked down the contract. I wholesaled that project because remember, I'm trying to make 25 grand back.
Yeah, sure.
Right. So I ended up wholesaling that and made 10 grand.
Mm-hmm.
And then we just kept going from there. It was just stacking deals, attracting more people onto the team, teaching them the process, creating workflows, processes, systems. And then the next thing you know, we went from 0 transactions to 16 total transactions in 2022 between all the team members.
You did 16 flips?
Yeah, not flips, but between wholesale
and flips
and retail.
Oh, okay, nice. That's cool,
Wow.
man.
Yeah.
And
You're
so
busy.
you were flipping at this time as well?
Yeah.
I missed a little bit in there.
Yeah. So basically, I got the Virginia deal at the same time I got the burned down property. So with the burned down property, that was going to be way too big of a project for a newbie to do. So I just immediately was like, let's wholesale that thing.
Can you bring that to Tarek and be like, Tarek, bro, look at it. It's a great deal. Will he buy it from you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I did. But
Nice.
That's the one thing about like paying somebody 15 grand for their mentorship is like you now have that connection.
Yeah, you could just
100%.
Now it's like,
yeah,
they know Joe. Like
100%.
Joe's the guy.
I send
That's
deals
smart.
to Tarek all the time. His
Yeah.
his dispo team, You know what I mean?
Right,
I'll
right.
text Tarek and say, hey, I got a
Yeah.
deal. He's like, send it over to, Ingrid, and
Right.
we'll get the deal done. And I mean, I've made, I made 50 grand on a wholesale from Tarek, and we just split it down the middle, 25 grand each.
I'm trying to get Tarek in here, man. Tell him to come here.
Call him
Yeah.
right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's kind of busy right
He's
now
busy.
with
His new
doing
show
his
drops
new
today.
show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Today.
Yeah. So Tarek's a great guy.
Yeah.
I mean, he really cares. You know what I mean? He's not just a TV personality. I mean, a lot of people would, kind of feel like he's like a douche and stuff like that. But
Well, some people
he's
fake
cool,
it.
right?
I've heard there's like, you'll meet people in real life and they're like, oh no.
yeah, he's
Okay.
a real guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's a real
Nice.
real good guy.
Seems like a nice guy.
Yeah.
Twice cancer survivor, right?
2 times, 3 times actually.
Crazy.
Dang.
Yeah. Yeah.
What kind of cancer?
he had
All kinds.
the gland cancer or whatever.
Oh, okay.
Thyroid?
Dang.
Thyroid.
Thyroid.
And then testicular. And
Jeez.
then the thyroid thing relapsed.
Oh, wow.
And then he got rid of everything.
What a
And then he had a
beast.
baby after the cancer.
Right?
What a
Total
beast.
legend.
Yeah.
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 Marries
Nice.
Heather from Wholesaling Sunset.
Let's tell Rem to clip this and
Yeah.
send this direct to Tarek's Instagram
Let's
page.
take a selfie and send it to him. I've been emailing him. He's like, oh, bro, I'm busy,
Yeah, and that's okay. So we're flipping. Where are we at in the story here?
So yeah, I mean, basically, built the team up in 2022, and in that time frame, I flipped 5 homes from 2022 to 2023, and decided to go full time into it in May of 2023.
All those flips are local, Orange County.
Just we did one in I did the one in Virginia, and then the other flips were Riverside,
Gotcha.
Lake Arrowhead,
Got it.
Diamond Bar.
It's like inland. Got it.
Yeah.
Very
Give
cool.
me the numbers on the Riverside one.
The Riverside one was bought for $505,000, put 100 in
On the MLS, just sitting there for 3 months.
probate.
Okay.
Died in the property.
Right in the property. Okay.
Yep.
So bought it for 5.5. What was the ARV?
ARV at that time was like 825.
Uh-huh.
Dang.
What was the rehab budget?
Then the rehab budget was 154,
550, 154.
and then we sold it for we ended up settling it at 785.
Okay. How much did you make on it after holding?
That one we held it a little bit longer than we wanted to.
Uh-huh.
Actually, we held it for a full year.
Oh,
Wow.
Because it was on a dirt road. By the way, everybody, if you're listening to this podcast, don't buy houses to flip on a dirt road.
really? Why is that? Tell us.
Because everybody who's going to be buying in that area is not used to a dirt road.
Okay.
They're
Yeah,
all
that
coming
makes
from
sense.
they're all coming from the city,
Right.
right?
The
And
dirt
they're
road's a big turnoff for a lot of people.
it's a big
I grew up
turnoff.
in Kansas in a small town where it was all dirt roads
Yeah.
that connected everywhere. So,
Yeah.
yeah. That's
So 2 things that I'll never do again: buy on a dirt road, and then buy with a double homicide on the property.
oh.
Was it
And you
double
had to
homicide?
disclose that because it had just happened. Yeah, like a year. What is that? A year or 2?
3
Whatever.
years.
3 years. Yeah.
Yeah.
Dang. Oh, by the way.
What if you, okay, how about this? I'm not giving advice, but it's a double homicide. You give the property to him. He's the realtor. Don't tell him it's a double homicide. He doesn't know, and he sells it.
But
I
here's
just
the-
found a
here's the
loophole,
thing.
guys.
Here's
You're
the thing:
welcome.
you could type the address in, and on KTLA 5, the front door is sitting right
no.
there.
Oh, now your license is over.
And then if they find that out, then they're gonna sue me for all of the money that I
Yeah.
just made,
Mhm. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
true.
right? So yeah, that one was
So, but
a
on
flop
the
for
bright
sure.
side, you held it for a year. Does that mean you paid capital gains on it instead of earned income?
No, I actually sold it just under a year.
oh, gotcha.
Yeah, so
So you still had to pay full
so-
tax.
so I had to pay the full taxes on that. But
Did we just break even at that point? with the
I
holding
made
costs?
37 grand on
Oh,
that.
that's fine. That's
Yeah,
good,
Come
dude.
on.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Now, with taxes, though, that's the only thing that's really got us, when we talk about flipping, because we've been investing for a long time. And thankfully, we've got different gigs where, cash flow comes in from that. But we've talked flipping, and that's one of the things that we always, we'll watch Fix or Flip with our boy Tarek himself.
I'm watching Flipping Almusas every day.
every
bro.
day.
Mhm.
Yeah. And we're like, yeah, but then after like taxes, he walks with 12 grand? Like, what's happening?
Well, the thing you don't know about Eric is he has a huge multifamily portfolio. He's got all kinds of depreciation.
Ah.
He ain't paying no tax.
I see.
Yeah, that's what he's doing.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a way to detour taxes,
Right.
right? Obviously, if you're actively flipping and you're selling them in less than 12 months, you're not going to pay capital gains tax, right? But you're going to still have to pay regular income
Yeah,
tax,
yeah. The
right?
regular is just worse.
Right.
Right.
But, there's other things that will allow you to offset the loss, right? So any
Right.
interest that you pay on mortgages loss, any
Right.
debt that you incur during the time frame and payoff
Sure.
is loss,
From
right?
business. Yeah.
Yeah, so you're doing things to
What Vince is saying is he's an investor. So I already know you're implying that he's a real estate professional, and he's claiming that with full legitimacy on his taxes, and so he's wiping all that out.
Yeah, as long as he buys enough properties to wipe out that kind of
Right,
income. I
right.
mean, you're looking. I mean, his company's he's pulling in millions
yeah,
a year.
Right.
yeah.
So
But
he needs
then
to.
there's also the strategy of putting your money into indexed annuities and qualified accounts
Like
that
health care stuff. Like, was
like
that
Yeah, he probably has his own-
HSAs.
HSAs,
Yeah. I personally promote the Laser Fund, which
What is that?
which is indexed universal life insurance,
okay, I
which
know that
allows
one.
you to invest tax, after
Ah,
tax
yeah.
dollars into
Yeah. We got a good episode on that.
an indexed universal life plan, which
Uh-huh.
will accumulate cash daily. Then you can turn around and lend the money back out to yourself tax free. So,
Yeah, we're already doing all that crap.
Yeah.
But I have just whole life. I like whole life.
I bet you if you give me your whole life statement, I can blow your socks off with
With the can you borrow the
Let's
money?
do it right
too?
now. Pull it up on your phone.
we could surrender that whole life policy and roll it into an IUL, and you'll double your money.
Oh, really?
This is a conversation for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, like for me, I'm trying to like grasp as much as I can to keep my business moving forward. There's always something else that that's better, so I won't know it because
You could literally have multiple IULs
Uh-huh.
that you're funding on yourself, on people that you have insurable interest on, like nephews, nieces, children, parents, right? But you control you're the beneficiary and you control all the money, right?
Yeah, I mean that's how the whole life is. My sister is the, if I die, she gets the money, but I'm controlling it till I die.
Correct.
Yeah,
Right.
I already put all the money
But
out
the way that it's
to pay for on
the way that it's cash accumulating,
Yeah.
you're on a small drip, whereas we can turn a floodgate on with the IUL,
I see.
Cool.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's
So
chat about it
we
for
get
sure.
real creative with how we structure those IULs,
Yeah,
because
that's
it's
cool.
not about the death benefit; it's about the cash accumulation. If you
Right.
lower the death benefit,
Yeah, that's how mine is written too.
you get more cash.
Do you know
It's
Chris
lower
Noggle?
cost of insurance. Yeah, I know Chris
Yeah,
Noggle.
yeah, that's the one. Brent Kessler, those guys write my
Mhm.
stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. I've been working for the last 6 months with the executive producer of the Think and Grow Rich movie.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. His name's John Shin.
Mm-hmm.
And I just actually got invited to be a speaker on the next Think and Grow Rich Legacy Tour.
That's awesome, man.
So
Congrats.
I started chapter 1 of my book a couple days ago.
That's cool. The
Yeah.
book Think and Grow Rich, or what?
It's going to be
You're writing a book.
I'm writing a book.
That's rad.
And there's obviously going to be principles that are taken out of the Think and Grow Rich book
Mm-hmm.
that apply to kind of the story I've been telling you guys today,
Right.
which would be in hopes to inspire people to not take their current circumstances as the end all be all, and open their mind to a whole new world of how to really put the laws of attraction and the power of thought and the power of prayer and your spirituality to work for you.
Is that something you attribute a lot of your success towards?
100%.
Nice.
Yeah.
You
yeah.
read Think and Grow Rich probably very young, and
Yeah, I first got recommended the Think and Grow Rich book
Mhm.
after my real estate crash in 2007, 2008.
Makes sense. You were coming to Jesus. You needed something.
Amen. Amen, brother. Amen.
Napoleon Hill, right?
Napoleon Hill, yeah.
Yeah, it's a classic.
Yeah. So, we really try to help people understand that the circumstances that you're in are not happening to you; they're happening for you. Just like you said with that lesson that I learned with that first deal, there was so much knowledge packed into that one circumstance, and I could have just said, "Whoops, I just lost 25 grand. I'm freaking out of here."
Right. Cried,
right?
went home, played
Yep.
a different game.
Took my ball and went home.
Yep.
But I was like, oh, I'm actually empowered to keep going and keep driving. Of course, I just lost 25 grand, but I'm like, I have
I've
a whole
never
new,
met
you
a
know,
self-made man who has not had that story multiple times.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, it's just part of it.
yeah,
And that's what deters people from starting, is that fear of like, oh, they forget that everyone measures things in months. We need to start measuring things in like decades.
yeah,
Measure things in 5 years. You can accomplish a lot a lot more than you think in 5 years. People underestimate what they can accomplish in 5 years and overestimate what they can accomplish in 1 year. I
yeah.
totally ripped that off from somebody smarter than me. I forget who, but that is so true.
It's true.
Think
Yeah.
long term. Stay in the game. Persevere.
It's vision.
Vision.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, not everybody's a visionary,
Yeah.
right? There's integrators, which I need
Yeah.
because as a visionary, I tend to like have all these great ideas and then
Right.
maybe I start them and then I don't finish them, or maybe I buy the program and then I never do anything with it. Right.
Right.
It's a perfect example, business capital raising, right? I started with Prime Corporate Services. I got up to a certain level and then I just started doing business, and then I kind of put it off to the wayside. And I'm like, wait a second, I bought this program for a reason. How can I raise more capital without going after mom and pop's, 401k money?
Mm-hmm.
Let's go back to the drawing board on the business credit. So actually what I did is I knew I didn't have the time. I mean, I'm running a team. I have 3 businesses. I'm trying to, recoup some losses on some other things now that I've been, a year and a half self-employed. I've made a lot of stupid mistakes that might be another podcast time we can tell you about.
Mm-hmm.
But ultimately, like I'm sitting here going, how am I going to get this off the ground and keep moving forward still with my other businesses? I need an integrator. So I use the network that I've built through Tarek's group and through Pace Morby's group. And I'm like, hey, I need somebody to come in and help me out with stuff.
As like a COO, or what exactly will they be doing?
It's kind of like a hybrid role,
Mm.
like an executive assistant
Mm-hmm.
/ transaction coordinator,
Okay.
right? And so there's these things called top tiers TC in the Pace Morby group.
Yeah, I know.
I went and reached out to somebody that I knew in homeschool group who went through that certification. She's already doing my books for my real estate company because she's a CPA. And I'm like, hey, you already know my business. You already know how I work. Would you be open to a partnership where you bring your integrator skills to my business and help me achieve some of these, lofty goals that I
Mhm.
have? And the benefit to you would be, I can bring transaction business to you, which is,
Right.
$450 a pop.
Yep.
Sometimes even, you get a dual agency side. That's
Mhm.
$1,000, right? But I could also share a split of every earning that I make.
Nice.
And what does that look like for you?
Yep.
And she's like, 5%, 10%. What do you, I say, if you do a good job, I'll give you 10% of everything I earn. Right.
That's a pretty
great.
good deal.
Right.
Yeah.
And she's like, done.
That's awesome. She's still working with you to this day.
We're on the way.
That's
you know what I
great.
mean? I just got notification that they just applied for a business line of credit through SBA for me.
So Joe,
Wow.
Right.
tell
Dang.
us.
I'm like, because she has access to my taxes. She
I
has
was gonna
access to
say.
my book. She has access to everything that she needs.
She has
Profit
power
and
of
loss
attorney.
statements.
Let's go. Like, what's
Let's
going
go.
on?
I told her, I was like, I gave you full admin rights. Let's do
Rockstar
this.
thing with rock stars, man.
You know?
That the nugget that, if I'm sure everyone's smart enough to already pick this out, but like Joe's lining himself up with A players, and that's the key, and pay them what they're worth. This is something that I've been learning fairly recently. Just get the guys or the gals, figure out how to pay them, make a partner, delegate, whatever you got to do. The stuff that you're not specifically good at, get somebody to integrate, right? Or to run the numbers on the deal, or whatever it is. I mean, everybody at the top is working together.
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah. I mean, do things what you're really good at.
Yeah.
And excel at.
Yes.
Right.
And just go hard.
That's it.
Yeah.
I got a couple of questions for you.
Mhm.
So for people who are listening, they're like, what is this business credit this guy keeps talking about, and how do I get it? What's your take on that? Like, how do people listening in, they got a little side gig, they sell cookies, door to door, and they want
I
to
want
start an
cookies.
S corp.
Yeah.
That sounds great right now.
So how do they get the credit to expand that business?
Well, first and foremost, you only know what you know.
Yeah.
Everybody thinks that you have to have a FICO score in order for you to get credit. It's
Mhm.
actually not the case. What you have to have is established credibility as a business.
Okay. How do you have
So
that?
you have to have an LLC, number one. Then you have to go out and you have to register with Duns and Bradstreet, which is the business
Mm-hmm.
credit bureau.
How do you do that?
It's just very simple. You just go
It's
online.
online.
Yeah, it's just an online account. You go to Duns and Bradstreet, dnb.com or something like that.
Yeah.
Or you could just Google Duns and Bradstreet, and then it'll allow you to, create a login and register your business.
And it's free?
Don't buy any of the stuff that they offer you. They're really good at like pop-ups and, go here and stuff like that. But Duns and Bradstreet will give you a credit number, so to speak.
Mm-hmm.
And then you go out and you go start applying specifically for credit cards that are meant for business. And they're not personally guaranteed against your credit. Now, will they check your credit? Some will. Some will actually do a soft pull on your primary credit just to get you that business line of credit to, the max amount, right?
Yeah.
So you will have some inquiries on your credit. Most business lenders will do soft pulls, so it doesn't actually impact your credit, right? So that's what you do to start from day one. Is you go get your LLC registered on Duns and Bradstreet, and then you go start applying for credit cards at places like Office Max, Staples. Gas cards are good for business, right? Because you're going to be driving around doing your thing, right? So getting a business gas card is really easy to get. Best part about it is these credit cards don't report to your personal credit line.
It's tied to the LLC.
It's tied to the business. That's right. It's tied to the LLC.
And what are you doing with the Staples and the gas cards? What exactly is the move there?
You just go buy little things, put balance on it, pay it off, put balance on it, pay it off.
So it builds that
credit.
credit.
It builds that credit, just
Then you
like
go to a
normal
bank?
credit.
Or what? What's
Then
the next move?
once you've done that for like about 3-4 months, then you want to start going out and applying for like the Capital Ones, the
Right.
the City cards, and all of those types of lines of credit, right? And then you just keep building that profile from there. And then once you get to another level, which would be level 3, then you can start going out and applying for SBA. SBA, as long as you don't prove that you're going to use the money for buying real estate, they'll give you as much money as they have available to lend.
Wow.
Yeah.
Say that again, though. As long
So
as
you have to make your your business look like you're not going to go out and use all the money to go buy real estate, which
Gotcha.
is, you can't be really like classified as a real estate company with your taxes.
Got it.
Right.
Yep.
So like I specifically went to my CPA and I said, hey, what NAICS code are you using? NAIC code.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's how the IRS looks at your business.
Oh, interesting. So that's the category they put you under.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Wow.
So he's like, oh, I had you as a real estate professional. I'm going to change that.
Yeah, that's the mistake I made. That's
Yeah.
what I was doing.
Really.
That's why we're not getting any more cards.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So you got to change that to, so what I changed my JSC real estate, but even it has real estate in the name, right?
Mhm.
Real estate investments in the name. What a dumb business name. But I got it. It's there. I've already
Sure.
established it. Let's go for it, right?
Yeah.
And so you actually end up, so if you can get the NAICS code to read differently than a real estate game, you can actually, so what we reclassified my JSC real estate investments business as is home rehabber.
Okay. A little bit more transactional, I guess.
general.
Sure.
But flipping
general.
is just rehabbing too. But that's considered real estate.
The home
Good
rehabber.
enough.
Nobody knows.
I'm
what
not
it
going to
is.
ask questions.
Sure. Just
I'm
the
just going
title.
to go with the flow, right? It
Interesting.
doesn't say real estate in it. It says home remodeler,
And
right?
so let me skip ahead then. So now you've got this big line of credit. You've built it over months of hustling from card to card. What's a typical line of credit look like, and what are the terms? What's the interest?
I mean, I've gotten approved from American Express Gold Card for the unlimited balance.
Doesn't make any sense to my brain right now.
Yeah.
Where am I?
Yeah.
So wait, okay. How do you go from no business, LLC, get your Dun Bradstreet score, and then gas card to no? Like, that's insane to me. And
Yeah.
in what timeline?
It was like all happened within a year, because keep in mind, I'm getting fix and flips I'm using plastic to move the money in.
Mhm.
And then when I get the hard money realized, I pay the money off.
Right. So your credit's always looking good.
I'm pulling 20 grand out, putting 20 grand back in like nobody's business. Right. So I'm rapidly building that credibility.
Got it. Yep.
Right. And then I go out and I go to the Delta Capitals and the BHGs and there's a company, American Express had Blue Cash at some point. It was called Cabbage or something like that. Mm-hmm. Got $75,000 from that.
Wow. Now that's a line of credit or a credit card?
It was a line of credit. It was a business line of credit.
So what are the terms on that?
It was pay on what you draw, principal and interest.
Okay.
At that point, it was like a 6.25% interest rate.
Not bad.
Yeah.
That's really good.
Very good.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Dang. Okay.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
And at one point,
in this podcast.
At one point, I pulled that all out and paid it all back. So
Nice.
it was like, they're looking at me like a rock star.
They love you.
Yeah. So I got the corporate platinum card from American Express, unlimited balance. The corporate gold card from American Express, unlimited balance.
But all of those are just regular interest rate, like 20-30%, right?
It was 0% for the first 12 months.
And then after that,
and then after that, 20, 28, 24.
So you get 12 months to figure it out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've done a bunch of those. But
we played that game.
We've used it all.
Yeah.
Like we can't get any more.
Yeah.
But we should try with different LLCs since we have a few. But we're capped out on Chase.
Yeah.
We got about 100 there.
Yeah.
And then
with how aggressive our journey was, it's like
I was buying houses on like credit cards, like basically just doing crazy stuff.
Yep.
Yeah, we maxed it
but
out.
those are like dangerous games. I don't recommend anybody to do that.
Oh yeah, I mean, if you're savvy enough, do what you want to do, right? But
we are not giving business or tax advice or what is that like?
I hope
not
Brent,
financial
you better
advice.
run that disclaimer at the beginning of every episode.
Yes.
Yeah, if you've ever read the book Money Master the Game by Tony Robbins, he actually explains there's 3 different levels of personalities in the financial industry. The A is your, cookie cutter conservative, wants things to move slowly, right? Dave Ramsey, exactly. Buy term, invest the rest kind of mentality, right? Then there's the middle of the road people that will have diversification. They'll have a little bit of real estate. They'll have a little crypto. They'll have a little bit of, mutual funds and direct stocks, right? Mm-hmm. But then there's the risk taker class, right? And I fall into the risk taker class.
Oh, Bitcoin, let's go.
Well, that's the thing is another story I could tell you. I got ripped off for a very large sum of money in crypto.
Really?
Oh man. Yeah.
Well, some weird coin or somebody?
No, it was a marginal trade platform that long story short, I was basically brought in to be a private money lender to pay off a marginal trade. And then once they got all of our money in there, they trapped the money and told us that we were money laundering, and it became an advanced fee scam to try and get our money back.
Wow.
Holy
How much did you lose on that?
$165,000.
When he did that, I knew it was 6 figures.
Really?
Yeah.
I was hoping it'll be another 25, but
no, that was a big one.
But can you get it back? Is that possible?
It's gone, man.
It's gone.
It's gone. The only way I'm getting it back is because one of my direct to seller dialers right now is the guy who I lent the money to. He's working it off.
Wow.
Oh,
there you go. There you go.
Oh, okay. So he brings you enough deals, you can get it back.
Yeah, if he brings me enough deals, I'll earn the money back. Correct.
Okay, that's not bad.
Yeah,
okay,
so I got a deal right now for every wholesale.
So he was just a moron and he just lost the money. He didn't actually defraud you or anything.
No, he had completely good intentions.
Oh, okay.
He was actually my first mentor at Countrywide Home Loans. So I've known the guy for like 18 years.
Oh, okay.
So I trusted him, and he's a very, very sharp guy. He's got the 4-year degree at a very expensive school, and he's a finance guy, very savvy. And the only reason we got duped was because the person that got us into this, or got him into it, showed him how to put money in and make money and get money back out. Does that make sense? So it was an elaborate scheme. They say, okay, here, start off with just what you got, whatever you can afford. We'll show you how we make money on this platform, right? And then they get you. Okay, you put in 100, you just made 300. Oh, that's pretty good money, right? And then you put in another, 300, and then you made 600. You're doubling your money every single time. And then you test the withdrawal process. Oh, I withdrawed my $1,000, so now I'm getting my money back. Okay, this is good. Let's go for a bigger one, right? And so what she ended up doing was she ended up getting to put $75,000 in, right? And she's like, okay, now with this $75,000, this is like a down payment, and the platform will lend you $200,000 for you to invest this money into this platform. And you do it like a marginal trade, right? So you basically say, I'm going to bet that the Bitcoin is going to short today, right? And if it shorts, you win big, right? And so he turned $200,000 into $470,000 on this platform. But the thing is they said, in order for you to get your $470,000, you have to pay the $200,000 in cash up front. So that's when he came to me and another.
They loaned him.
Yep.
That sounds like a very simple scam to me.
Wow.
There's nothing elaborate. You're like, wait, give me 200, I give you 400, I'm already out.
Wow. Yeah.
It's like those Nigerians. They're like, your money is trapped in my kingdom.
Right.
I need you to pay for the train ticket to give you gold.
Right.
Yeah.
And people were doing it in India.
So think about this. He put 75 grand of his own money, which he raised from his sister. I think 50,000 of it was his own money. 25,000 of it was his sister's money. And then in order for us to get the full 470 out, he had to raise another 200,000, right? And so
Wow.
100 came from another friend of his who was also a millionaire.
Wow.
I'm not a millionaire, but I was doing some good things, and I had I had some liquid, right?
Yeah.
And he got $100,000 from me. The goal was that I was going to get my 100 grand back in 7 days with 20 grand more on top of that. Good return, right?
Yep.
Easy
Great
money,
return.
And he showed me how they were doing it. He built my trust. They built my trust. And then he showed the same thing. We were all like on a Zoom call, and we were going through these trades, and it took a couple of weeks for us to kind of do some trades and see how that worked. And then once I was kind of, trusting, gave him my money. And then that was when everything changed. As soon as they got the big 6 figures,
They were like,
they trapped it.
yeah.
Because and remember, it's in Bitcoin.
Right.
So once it goes over there, it's gone.
It's in their universe.
It's in the ether.
Yep.
Wow.
Yeah, I hope you can, because of the ledger and stuff in Bitcoin, maybe you can, claim something back, because you can see all the trades happening, right? If they gave you, told
If the
you
platform was still around,
then you're done. Yeah.
it's not there. It's not there anymore.
Reminds
All
us of when we paid off the solar, all cash, and then the company went out of business 2 days later.
Oh yeah.
We're like,
And then they put a lien on the property too.
yeah. They did all the things.
No
then-
lien release after they installed it.
Well, we figured it out later because
Yeah.
I had the documentation
Got
and
it.
stuff, and then the guys were like, "Hey, we really shut down.
Yeah.
Our company's gone."
Yeah. So there is no lien.
So then the lien got removed.
Yeah,
and we
gotcha.
Showed it to the title people.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're working on a book ourselves. We just haven't started writing it yet. We just talk about it on our trips. We're like, yeah, but this thing that happened, that's gold,
So what I've been doing, because I'm not a writer.
Yeah, tell me about your
Right?
book. That's exciting for me.
I've been, I'll start talking into a voice recorder.
Oh, there you go. Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
When the idea comes up, I just throw the voice recorder on.
He's dating himself again, by the way, for the audience. He's got a phone.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't got the chip yet.
The chip. Yeah. But yeah, so you're just doing that when things come to you.
When things come, I just throw it on a voice
Yeah.
recorder, and then of course my personal assistant ChatGPT
Yeah.
organizes it all. I have actually a subsection in ChatGPT for the book,
Nice.
and then I just put all the ideas together, and eventually it'll be done.
That's awesome.
That's
Yeah.
awesome, man.
Yeah.
So
We'll be
what's
buying-
what do you have anything?
No, I'm just saying we'll be buying it and reading it, man.
Thank
It's going
you.
to be what is the book going to be about?
Well, it's going to be. I don't have a title yet, but the underlying theme is perseverance, because of all the hurdles that I've jumped over through within my life. I mean, come from divorced parents. My mom was bipolar. Raised in a violent a situation with men coming in and out of the house, and
Just overcame a lot.
Yeah, overcame a lot.
That's awesome,
to
man.
get where I am today.
I'm kind of going through some stuff right now, just business wise. We both are. It's good, but like it's rough sometimes. And reading those kind of books of entrepreneurs, self-made. I read Elon's. I read all the big guys.
They all come with
And,
a lot of adversity, don't
bro,
they?
every time I get in my head, like, oh, like your thing, 25K. And then you read Elon's book and you're like, oh, that's insignificant. The losses these guys suffer to get to where they are. I mean, it's just the cost you pay.
Yeah.
So that'd be a great book for me to read. I think anybody, and that's something that really I would give the audience listening some advice right now. Just, I know you didn't ask for it. Advice tip number 1, be reading constantly, always, every day, educating yourself, all the mistakes you'll make because you have a hole in your head somewhere. There's a knowledge gap. And then B, I would say every 5th or 6th book, make it a biography. Make it about somebody who's accomplished a lot of things, preferably in an area that you try to accomplish something yourself. And you'll quickly learn like, oh, the road is rough.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not trying to scare you away, but just know that's rough. And then so whenever you get hit in the face with the EMD that's trapped or the, losing to Bitcoin and a scam, it's like, yeah, it's easier to shrug and be like, that sucked.
Those were some dark times though. Because you start to second guess who you are as a person.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
those were some dark times.
Yeah.
But the Think and Grow Rich book, because I read it a second time now because I needed to.
Right. After that?
Yeah.
Nice. Maybe I should reread that myself.
There's a quote that says, on the other side of adversity is the seed of equal or greater value.
I'm rereading that book.
I'm telling you,
This
man.
next one I just started, I'm rereading that.
I'm telling you, it was powerful. And actually, the second time I read it, the more I pulled out of it, because the first time I read it, it was almost like it was an assignment by a mentor, and I didn't really embrace it. You know what I mean? And now because I needed it, boy,
soaking it all in.
Did I go in depth, right? And I actually at the end of 2024, I completely aligned every single goal that I have according to the 6 principles of the book and the 13 chapters, basically the 13 strategies by all of these people that are wealthy. And faith is a major aspect of that book.
Awesome.
Right?
Yeah. I mean, you got to have that.
You got to have faith.
Start with that.
Yeah. It really is.
Wow. Yeah. Faith in the universe, faith in yourself.
Determination, perseverance, but every single story in that book from Henry Ford, to Thomas Edison, they all were discounted in life at an early age. They, Henry Ford had a 6th grade education.
Wow.
The creator of Ford.
And invented the assembly line.
The assembly line,
changed the world. Wow.
And you know how in the book he tells that story? Mm-hmm. He says, I didn't know anything about engineering, so I went and hired the best engineers.
That's the move.
That's it.
That's where he went right.
That's it.
Yep.
He did what he was really good at, right? So you guys, we all try to overthink this stuff. We all put the world on our shoulders when everybody in the world is around there to help us, right? And that's really what it's all about. And that's what I'm going to be writing about. That's what I'm going to be promoting on the Think and Grow Rich Legacy Tour.
Nice. Are they going to be coming through? Are they going to be local? Can we catch that?
Yeah.
Cool.
First event is in May.
I'll be
here
there.
Locally.
We'll be there.
Yeah.
Love it, man.
So I'm trying to kind of get everything, done by May.
Sure.
I think I can hammer it out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
Even if it's just a 150-page book.
Just something. Yeah.
You know what I mean? But I think if there has to be a second version or something like that, but I think I could pretty much get a beginning, middle, and end together by May.
Love that.
That's cool, man.
Yeah.
Hey, lastly, we don't want to keep you too long, but what do you think of the market? What are you seeing out there, like especially with your flips and stuff?
Yeah, well, I mean, I have a flip that's bleeding me dry right now in Belmont Shore.
What's going on with that?
Gosh.
Did you tell me about this flip?
I think so.
It's a high luxury property,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Is it true?
It was listed at 2.1. We just
Yeah.
dropped the price down to 1,975, $125,000 discount in Belmont Shore. So if anybody's out there looking to buy an Airbnb,
Give us the numbers on that. Like, how did you get into the deal and stuff?
So
like-
wholesaler,
Yeah.
I negotiated the deal down pretty well. I started off high and came down actually got it under their original list price. So got the house for $1,490,000. Comps were at that time right around 2.1, 2.15. And, we had a budget of about $170,000 to put into it, which should be plenty. But I went into this flip with a different strategy than what I was normally doing. I had the contractor become the business partner, thinking that it would actually motivate them to come in under budget and on time.
Yeah.
And it actually backfired on me. He went over budget by $70,000.
Wow.
Didn't call in the progress city inspection for the permit. And so when I went to go get the final sign off on the permit, the city noticed that we did a full gut remodel, and they're like, well, we'll be cool if you show us pictures. I said, okay, I'll show you pictures. And they're like, is that a drywall screw in your hardy backer on your bathroom? I'm all, I don't know. Is it?
Dang.
So they made us take off a tile in the bathroom, and they noticed that there was drywall screws in the hardy backer, and the code calls for zinc coated screws to be in gunite. And they said, see, if you would have called us in for a progress inspection, we would have been able to catch this while the walls were still open. So now you have to tear out all the bathrooms and redo it.
Wow.
For $25,000 on top of the $70,000 that he was over.
Right.
And oh, by the way, he was supposed to have the project done in 4 months. He took 6 months to finish it. And, now we couldn't go on market during the summertime, which is when people buy in Belmont Shores.
Yeah.
Right. And so we ended up having to go on market in November on an election year.
Oh man.
And
What's your holding cost?
$13,000 for the interest only on the mortgage, and then roughly probably like $1,500 a month in utilities and things
So
like that.
$15,000 a month. And what's your break-even cost if you sold it April 1st?
There is no break even if I sell it April 1st. So basically, we're just trying to get our private money lenders paid back with their interest. So at 1,975, that's the number with 2% commission to the buyer's
So
agent.
you won't even be making any money.
I won't make any money.
Yep.
Actually, I'll lose a significant amount of money on that deal.
Really?
Wow.
Yeah,
Wow. I hope you sell it soon, man. 15
Yeah.
grand a month is a lot.
it's a lot. It's a
Yeah.
lot. So actually, I just met with a leadership group that I belong to. It's a members only club. Bunch of C-level executives, a bunch of entrepreneurs. We all get together, like-minded individuals trying to grow and excel and get better. And the leader of the group basically said, "Hey, what if we buy it as like a fractional share, timeshare kind of situation where each one of us, puts in a certain amount and we get to use it when we want to, and when we're not using it, we Airbnb it because Belmont Shores still falls into the short-term rental zone.
No, no.
Oh, does it really?
Yeah, it's a vacation spot.
Huh, makes sense.
Yeah.
Just apply for the permits.
Just apply for the permits. You can still get a permit. It takes about 30 days to get the permit.
No, what's the minimum? Is there a minimum?
Minimum as far as
Night stay?
No,
Most
it's
cities are 30, so it's just
STR,
zero.
yeah.
It's just
no,
one
yeah,
night.
it's just
1 day.
once you get this STR, yeah, 1 day.
Like our
yeah.
percent share ones.
Dude, let's look at the deal after this. That's like what we do.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we should.
Yeah.
Because I did the air DNA on it, and it was a net at 65% occupancy. It was a net revenue of $125,000.
What's it do? That's with all everything.
Mm-hmm.
Let's look at that, man. You might actually have stumbled into a really nice little opportunity.
Yeah.
But there's also
Why don't you do that now? Is it not furnished?
Well, because our private money lenders aren't prepared for syndication.
Oh, sure, yeah. They have
No.
different
While you're holding
expectations.
it, let's just rent it out to make some money.
Well, we'd have to furnish it. We
Get
took
some
the staging
stages
out.
in there.
We took the staging out because we had to redo the bathrooms, and I didn't want to damage the staging.
Right.
So then I left it unstaged because I felt like it was, giving it that more open feel.
Right.
Yeah.
But if my private money lenders were reasonable, this would be the play, because I could actually pay them dividends rather than
Well, maybe raise capital and buy them out with guys who
That's what I was thinking.
You obviously know all this.
Yeah,
but
that's what I was thinking is kind of change the script a little bit, because it'll DSCR at 65%. You know what I mean?
Nice.
So
You've never done short-term rentals though, probably?
I've never done a short-term
it's
It's
rental.
a different business.
It's its
You
own
gotta do
monster
it.
for sure.
I mean, you
It's-
could have other people manage it and run it for you for like
Yeah.
20%.
Yeah.
So you're
That's true.
saying that the gross on that property is 125
No, you said the net 125 a year. Am I wrong?
The net. Yeah.
for the
Yep.
whole
That's
year?
what the Air DNA said. I don't know how accurate
for
Air
the
DNA
year or
is
for the
For the year.
for the year.
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, if it's costing you 15 grand a month, so you're saying on top of that you can make the extra 10 grand. or
Well,
something.
here's the thing.
Yeah.
You're taking into consideration you do a refinance rate and term,
Sure.
drop the price down to an 8% interest rate versus
Mhm.
a 10. Actually, this one's at 11%,
Mm-hmm.
You
and
probably get a 7.
you could probably even get a 7,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And you drop the payment significantly.
Yeah.
You don't take any cash out, and you just start paying your private money lenders, dividends, or
Right, right.
you raise capital to pay off the current private money lenders, and then keep them in the deal.
It's like what is it, 2,500 square feet or
It's a 2019 square feet, 3 beds, 3 baths.
2019?
Yep.
Because kind of like this house.
Yeah.
This is 2000. There's another unit behind this, but yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
It's
that's cool.
2 stories.
2 stories.
Yeah.
Lot space? Any lot space?
No, it's like a 2,500 square foot
Okay.
lot, but
just
it's
right.
got a big front living area, like outdoor living area, and then it's got a deck above the garage for
Nice.
hanging space, and then a little patio in the back.
What's the
Nice.
address if people want to Google it?
It's you can go to 173glendora.com and it'll have the full
Oh,
video
nice. You
and
got
all that stuff like
nice.
that.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Too legit. Yeah.
Yeah.
After this, we'll we can look at it for you and just give you some cool some tips and advice we've been doing for a long time
That's
and
awesome, man.
resources.
Yeah,
I
right
got
on.
people who could change your game on that if you wanted to do it right.
Yeah, right on.
We've already spent 80 grand in rehab just the last 2 months, so don't worry.
We're
Yeah.
deep in
Also
that
the-
game right now.
You know what's
bro.
up?
We're literally calling our contractor right after we are done with this podcast.
Yeah.
Like, hey, bro, so what's going on?
Yeah,
Just send
where are we
pictures.
at?
Yeah.
Updates.
What's that tile look like?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's the
I
game.
feel you. Yeah. But this game is like I said, I'm the high risk taker. I'm the guy that just jumps in feet first. I have a why. I know what I'm getting myself into. My wife, gets stressed out all
Oh,
the
but
time
she's-
because she's the conservative.
Yeah.
Sure,
You
but I'm
know.
stressed out about this 15 grand a month.
Well, hey,
Yeah.
it's one of those things.
So you're
Somehow
just
I'm
paying
making
it
it
out of
happen,
pocket?
but she I just keep telling her, we got to stay the course. We're 3 feet from gold, man.
Yeah,
know.
for sure.
If you change directions now, somebody's just going to come in and you're going to be like, damn.
Yeah.
You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yep.
Should have just turned right.
Yeah.
Stay course, man. That's
Or
such a
hired a seismic
huge-
engineer.
Right. Well, that's great, man. It's been really good catching up with you. You're yet another guest in this room that I feel like of a round 2 it should be coming in a few months. I'd love to hear how this all plays out, how you managed to get out of it, or maybe you guys all are running it as a rental. But yeah, would love to catch up with you on how things are shaking out with that. How can the people get to reach out and maybe do business with you? What can we plug?
Yeah, I mean, you could find me on all the socials at Joe Cohen Inspires. That's my brand. I have the Inspired Show podcast, which is on dormant right now, but we just had a conversation where we're going to kind of reactivate that here pretty
Nice.
soon. We can do podcast trading.
Yeah. That'd
Yeah,
be
yeah,
great.
we could do that. Do whatever you want.
But then, I have jscrei.com and the cohenpropertygroup.com. You can find me there, and more to come on the Think and Grow Rich legacy. You're going to start seeing my face a little bit more.
Can't wait, man. I'll
Yeah.
be there.
Awesome.
Sounds
pretty
awesome.
excited about it, actually.
Congrats on the event. Looking forward to hosting you after the book comes out, after we've read it.
Yeah.
So we can pick your brain on that, plug that a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you so much. You guys Google him up. He's making big moves local to OC. If you guys are in OC and you guys are making moves like Joe and taking shots, especially in things that are like real estate assets in general. Reach out to us. You can email me, Andrew at onvinvestments.com, and we can try to get you on the podcast as well. With that said, Vince, any final words?
No words. Thank you so
Thank
much
you
for
for
coming
listening,
in,
guys.
Joe.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah.
Thanks, Joe.
See you soon.
I don't know about you, but I definitely like to see 5-star reviews on any service or any product before I purchase. Please take a second to leave us a 5-star review, whether you're listening to it on Apple, iTunes, or Spotify, or whatever platform. Take a second, goes a long way, helps us a lot to grow the channel, and thanks for listening.